Hey everyone, it's EO coming to you live from nowhere. I decided to do another review here. This is going to be a little different than the last couple I've done. For one, this isn't so much a rant as the Lone Ranger, and two, it's not really about movies. Lately, I have been on. I don't know why. I have no idea what prompted it, but in between grading papers and all this stuff, I decided to start popping in seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was a big fan of this series back in the day. I remember watching the very first episode when it premiered. I think I was in junior high or something. Anyway, so I popped in the first season, and I think I'm midway through the second season now. But, after I did that, I decided that, with all the vampire popularity lately and everything, I figured it was kind of fitting to do maybe a review over such an iconic series. Anybody who disagrees that it is iconic, look at all of the vampire culture today. This series really cemented that to a T. Without that, look at your, Twilight, the Vampire Diaries, all this stuff, So, essentially, you look at iconic series, and this is definitely one of them. Whedon struck gold with this, and it even spawned, the sister series, or I guess maybe brother series, since it's Angel, but, anyway, I decided to. I'm certainly not going to go through the entire series, although I may do other installments of this if you like it, or somebody decides that to request another entry in it. I may do another entry. Want to take a quick second to thank everybody who continues to listen to these reviews. It's definitely still new to me. It's something that I've really started enjoying doing. I've always liked writing reviews, but this enables me to talk in a little more free flow narrative, and really just sit here and talk and analyze, whatever I want to analyze. I need to give a shout out to another Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, my friend Katie. Different Katie than the one who made me watch The Lone Ranger. So maybe she'll get a kick out of this. Anyway, let's get on to what I'm wanting to talk about here. Also, if you are liking these reviews, subscribe, like it, post a comment, tell me what you think. Try to keep it G-rated, but if you're liking them, let me know. If you want something done, if you wanted me to do a certain movie, I'm happy to try to do it. So, anyway, let's get on with this. I'm going to do the best Buffy episodes. Now, when I initially thought about doing this, I did do some research on the net. Because there's obviously top 10 lists everywhere for this series. The Sci-Fi Channel even did one. I think that maybe this is back a while ago. I think Anthony Stewart Head himself, who plays Giles in the series, actually introduced it, or maybe did the whole thing. I'm not sure, but there's definitely a lot of similarities in all these top 10 lists that people have posted. On various sites, big name sites. People just posting their favorite episodes too. Just everyday people just saying, "Hey, this is my favorite episode." It's definitely a series with a rich history and a ton of episodes, so everybody's gonna like something. Of all these lists, the main big sites, IMDb has one, Sci-Fi Channel, I said, had one. Some other big name sites and big name magazines and stuff did these as well. There was like I said, there were definitely similarities, and really, there were quite a few similarities. Like the same episodes were getting picked, and I respect that. There's obviously some that are definitely amazing. there was a kind of a synonymous. What am I looking for? Kind of a synonymous decision on like what was the best one ever, and it was The Body, and that's the episode where Buffy's mother, I think it was season 7, maybe it might have been season 6. Don't quote me on that. Dies of a brain aneurysm, and so there's no supernatural to it. Like it's literally her walking in, and someone who has dealt with death for so long, and she can't fight it, she can't stop it. It's happened, and that's it. And I mean, it's a jarring episode. I remember. I'll get into it later, but yeah, it is a jarring episode. So I mean, I can kind of see how it's a great episode. It's a fantastic episode, and it's definitely got a different feel than a lot of the Buffy episodes, which is why I say it's probably not the best Buffy episode. Because while it's a great episode, and it's a fantastic episode, really, but it doesn't really capture the essence of what Buffy is about in the large scope, which is, a vampire slayer. So, I mean, it deals with other themes that kind of relate to that, but yeah. Anyway, let's move on to my list here. And the first episode on my list, these are not in any particular order, really, and I'm not going by season, so I'm going to jump around a little. I should have categorized these a little better, but I'll try to go into some detail on what they were about. The first one on my list is from season 2. It is actually the debut episode of season 2, episode 1, When She Was Bad, is the name of the episode. And this episode deals with Buffy returning to Sunnydale after summer has passed. After she, in the season finale of the first season, after she had died and drowned after the Master had bitten her, and Xander had resuscitated her. This episode, when she returns after the summer, is really all about her dealing with that, and it's dealing with that in a sense that you can tell that she has some trauma. She's a traumatized, maybe still 16. I don't know if it says whether she turned 17 yet after that or not. She was 16 when she drowned, so I assume 16, 17. Regardless, I mean, literally, you're looking at this girl who's a powerhouse. Killed the Master, this 1,000-year-old vampire or whatever, but in this episode, you see her, as for most of the episode, as a wounded girl, like just a wounded teenage girl who is trying to deal with something, a horrible trauma, and the ways in which she deals with pushing people away, really overcompensating, determined to a sense, to a level that is, dangerous. And so that's really why I like this episode, is you get to see Buffy for the first time really having something that there are other moments earlier on in season 1 and that she has to deal with bad things, that come with vampire slaying and everything. But this one, is the one that really directly affects her, in the sense that she died and it was brought back, by normal means, by CPR. So anyway, the culmination of this is a great sequence at the end where they're trying to bring the Master back. This group of vampires and the other, the old Scooby Gang, as they call them, the few that aren't taken captive, Willow and Giles and Mrs. Calendar and Cordelia are all taken captive to be sacrificed so they can bring the Master back. And so it leaves Xander and Angel and Buffy to deal with this, and they ask her, "What are you going to do?" And she goes, "I'm going to kill them all." And it's really her at a sense of like the most focused to a sense of anger that she's ever been. And I mean, she literally mops the floor with these guys, and then comes the probably the best moment in the entire episode at the very end, where after she's killed all these vampires, the Master's bones are laying on the thing, and she takes the sledgehammer and starts breaking them, and then she breaks down, like crying, and it's the snap. It's the moment when, oh my God, she's finally letting everything that she's held in out. So this episode is definitely one of the better ones for that, especially early on in the series. That's all I have to say on that one. The next one I want to talk about is from season 1, and I mean there are a ton of episodes in season 1 that are amazing. That whole season was shot all at once, if I remember right. And actually, when they filmed that, because they shot it all, and they didn't know that would be renewed for a second season. After they shot, I think it was 11 episodes. It might be 12. I can't remember what Prophecy Girl was the last episode of season 1. And I can't remember if that's episode 11 or 12. But regardless, they shot that first season, Whedon did, as a complete whole. So when that season ends, it's built so that, she's killed the Master. If they were to get canceled, then it would be a complete story. Thankfully, they didn't. But the episode I want to talk about specifically is the episode Angel. Comes midway through the series. Don't have an episode number on it. I should have written that down. But this is where we first get a glimpse of Vampire Angel. We first figure out that he's a vampire, which we kind of suspected. But and Buffy first finds out that he's a vampire here, and this episode really sets the pace for, all your other series. Edward and Bella, Twilight crap, the Vampire Diaries, the whole love triangle with Stefan and what, I don't know what the other guy's name is, I can't remember, but I have watched a few episodes because I wanted to see how bad it was, and it's actually, it's way better than Twilight, but like, I can't help but watch the series and point out 60 things that are basically a direct Xerox of Buffy. Not to knock there are some pretty good actors in that series. I've got to say, Ian Somerhalder, and they get a lot of actually good older actors in there as well. But you would not have that series if you would not have the success of Buffy, which is Buffy and Angel, the Slayer of Love of the Vampire. Oh boy, that's the most forbidden of loves there. And then we get that later in these other series, which and those are literally what this is about, is her finding this out. And it's an interesting episode though, and it really kind of cemented the Angel character, for one, because David Boreanaz plays the role so well anyway. From the moment he's on the screen in the first episode, just in that small part, you're like, this is a good character. And this is even better because he plays that chaotic character very well, especially when she thinks that he's attacked her mother and she comes to kill him. But so anyway, moving on to the next episode, I'm jumping all the way to season 7 to the final episode of the series. This is an episode that I need to give a little precursor here, is that in, I want to say, about the 5th season-ish, I kind of fell off on the Buffy kick. From the time it premiered all the way through, I was all over it. I was on every episode. When it aired, I was there, Well, I don't know why, honestly, but I kind of fell off watching it. I think it was in the mid-5th season-ish, maybe a little earlier than that, actually. I think it was 5th season, though. And so, I didn't watch any of this for a long time. And then, right about, I want to say, halfway through the 7th season, maybe right as the 7th season was ending, I decided to come back to it and catch up. And I'm glad I did. I was always a fan of the series. I would be a great fan of the series. But I don't know why I fell off. But this last season, this very final episode was, I mean, an amazing episode, an amazing end to the television show as well. I mean, I know that they've continued the seasons on in the comic books, which is very cool. I mean, that's a neat thing. But this is a fitting end to the series. It concerns Buffy and the other. Yeah, the episode's called Chosen, if I didn't say that. Literally, you know, it's her with Willow's help and all the others casting a spell to give all the other potential Slayers, you know, Slayer powers. And it's literally cementing it. It's almost a way of taking the pressure off Buffy's shoulders. She's not the only one anymore. And also giving her responsibility that she's going to have to look after these and train these other Slayers. The final battle in this is probably one of the best final moments in any series I've ever watched, and I've watched a ton of series. I mean, I'll pick a series up and watch a few episodes just to see if I like it. If I like it, I'll keep watching it. If I don't, I'll stop. But I mean, I'll give most things a chance. But this final episode, wow. And I mean, a big shout out too that, I mean, Nathan Fillion in here really pre-Firefly plays the evil like monk Caleb, who is just fantastic in the like last 6 episodes or something of this series or of this season. But this final episode's when they're down underneath Sunnydale fighting the Turrican vampires, and you get to the point where you kind of get this little lull in the fight when Buffy gets wounded, and then you get this great, awesome climatic score by Robert Duncan. I think the piece is called The Final Fight, but I mean, it's amazing, and it sets the tone for the entire last battle with Spike dying and then coming back in Angel later. But I mean, it's a fantastic episode. And another thing I've got to mention is this season 7, not just this episode, but you've got to love Tom Link as what's his name? I forget his name now. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting the character Tom Link plays. But he's such a funny character. Oh my god, he's definitely the comic relief. I mean, Xander, you know, in the past has been the comic relief, and then Xander kind of shifts to a supporting sense of, you know, kind of the voice of reason in a lot of this, and Tom Link's character of Andrew, there it is, shifts to the comic relief. And I mean, there's a moment, and I don't know if it comes in this episode or maybe the episode before or something, but there's a moment when, like, Buffy and the bunch walk back into the house, and Andrew comes in and it's like, "Where the hell have you been?" And you're like, "Oh God, what happened?" And he goes, "This funnel cake is kicking my ass." And I don't know why that's funny, but it is hilarious. Tom Link's delivery is amazing. And I mean, that character, I mean, he reprises his character in a couple of the last season episodes of Angel, even. Maybe 1, maybe 2 of them. So, I mean, definitely a fan favorite character, I think. Moving on to the next episode that I'm going to follow is we're going to move into season 3. We're going to back up here to the episode, the 16th episode called The Wish, in which we first see Anyanka cast the wish that Cordelia makes, and it sends her into the alternate timeline where the vampires have pretty much got the run of Sunnydale, and we see Angel being held captive by evil Willow, who's been turned into a vampire, and evil Xander, who's been turned into a vampire, and Angel's held captive by him, and the Master's kind of got the run of the city, and Buffy's not even in Sunnydale. And later you see Buffy, and she's scarred up. She's got a scar over her lip, and I think going over her eye maybe, and she's a much more crude, toughened version. I mean, still amazingly beautiful, but you know, she's definitely seen some fights, you know. And then you get Giles and like Larry, who's, you know, a minor character in there, and then Oz and a few others who you know, make up this band of kind of vampire slayers called the White Hats, which I thought was a cool little concept. So they try to save Cordelia. She ends up getting killed, and the whole thing is just a nightmare dimension. It really is, and it's a very cool episode. The next episode I want to talk about is episode 17 of season 2. Season 2 really is probably one of the more iconic seasons of Buffy, if only because, I mean, it's really the season where Buffy and Angel cement their relationship. You see Giles fall in love for the first time. You know, you get a lot in here. Willow meets Oz for the first time, so there's a big thing. It's really a great season in general. It's got a lot of my favorite episodes in it, actually. But this episode that I want to talk about, episode 17, is Passion. I remember when this episode aired. Like, this is one of the ones that kind of sticks in my head still. I remember, like staying up late at school the next morning, and I don't remember when it aired, but it aired late. I think it aired at like 9 o'clock or something. And I think I had a football game the next day or something like that. But I stayed up and watched this episode, and I mean, I was blown away. The whole episode is good in the fact that it's got a lot of monologues by Angelus, the angel who's turned evil, lost his soul, and I mean, there's some great monologues in here, and there's one that's kind of stuck with me for since I watched the episode. It's about the essence and nature of passion, and how, you know, it really drives us, and without it we would be hollow, is what Angel says in here. But the iconic parts in this episode there's a ton of them. Like I said, you get the monologue where, you know, you see really what evil Angel's capable of in this episode. You know, he's going after Buffy, just tormenting her, sneaking into her house and leaving pictures of her. Drawn, so he's been in a room while she's sleeping, does the same to Willow and kills her goldfish or something, and so he's literally just playing cat and mouse with her, and you know, so you're like, oh my god, that's creepy in itself, and that's why this character's so good. I mean, like, you watch like Vampire Diaries, or watch, you know, Twilight, or, you know, whatever those others are, there's tons of them. Watch those, and you get villains in there that are, you know, very, very Angel-esque. Like, I mean, especially in like Vampire Diaries, where you got to get like the vampires, you know, that are like, you know, on the evil side and everything. None of them compare to this. Like, when I see the villains in those series, and I go right back to this episode and go, no, David Boreanaz is a scary freaking actor in this role. Like, you could put him side by side, and there's nothing. I mean, he does stuff that's so subtle that's just insanely creepy. Like leaving the pictures drawn of him. And the moment in this episode is really one of the worst scenes I've probably ever seen in a TV show. As far as, like, I mean, it's a great scene, but it is. I still remember it. It's so chilling. And it's the moment when Robia Lamorte's character of Jenny Calendar, who's the teacher and part of the Gypsy clan that cursed Angel to begin with, he goes into the school and chases her and kills her. And then after he kills her, he takes her to Giles' house while he's gone, and lays her up in his room and sets up like rose petals on the floor leading up the steps, and a champagne bottle and glasses, and a note down on the door, and music playing inside his house when he gets there. And Giles is fooled, thinking, oh, Jenny's here, because they were supposed to meet that night. And he picks up the note, and it says upstairs. And so he's got the bottle of champagne, and he's got this smile on his face, like, it's, oh, wow, this is amazing. And he walks up the steps, and he sees her lying on the bed, and it's even more chilling is because she's lying on her bed and her eyes are open. and she's dead. And the bottle of the champagne drops, and that's all you need to see. The operatic music behind it even creates the mood. It makes it even worse. And it is literally probably one of the worst scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. It's no blood. It's not bloody at all, but it is so evil. And there's nothing that has eclipsed that in a sense in a series of this nature, I don't think. And then the last thing I want to talk about in this episode is this is one of the first times. I mean, you do get to see. This is one of the first times you see badass Giles, in a sense. Driven, badass, scary Giles, in a sense. The first one being, you get the episode with Igon, where you kind of get his dark past with magic and stuff, and you get the whole Ripper thing, where he's his old friend who tries to come back in the Halloween episode, and then mentions he calls him Ripper. So dark past, you get to see a little bit of that in Giles in a few of those episodes. This is where you see driven Giles, where he goes in, he stays in his apartment, goes back to the police because it's a police scene, gets his weapons, and he nearly kills Angel. I will say he nearly kills him because he certainly beats the shit out of him. Like, totally beats the shit out of him. Probably one of my favorite scenes in the show in general is this. You see them mocking, Angel's standing there talking with Spike and Drusilla about how he's done what he's done, and they're laughing about it. And then all of a sudden, this Molotov cocktail hits the table in front of him. It showers into fire, and then in comes Giles, and he's got this like club, and sweeps it into the flames and lights it on fire, and then starts beating the shit, waylaying Angel with it. And he hits him 12, 13 times. And Angel finally grabs it and like knocks him backward, and Buffy has to step in. She gets there in time to save him. But we see a human. Certainly the first time we see a human beat the shit out of Angelus, and actually literally beat the hell out of him. And it's just a great scene. You see a guy who's the whole series has been kind of cast in a light of all brains, no brawn, and you get to see what brains and brawn can really do together. So, I mean, that's all I'll say about that episode, but it is definitely an episode for the books. And then the last episode I want to talk about in this entry, I didn't realize this was going to take this long. I've already been talking for quite a while. I've got a whole bunch more here. I'll do another entry though. The last one I want to talk about is the episode Earshot. For some reason I didn't write a season down on this, and I don't know why I didn't. This episode is I do remember this episode though. I mean, I don't have to guess around it. I remember when this episode aired just as much as I remember when Passion aired. Only this one's even more, because I remember the nature of this episode was very controversial for the time. I don't remember if the public service announcement came before the episode or after the episode, or may have come both. But Earshot deals with another very human topic, like the body. In that, the whole episode, Buffy and her friends Xander and Willow and all them are trying to figure out this plot of that somebody's going to shoot up the school. And you finally realize, like Buffy confronts this kid that's going to do it at the end, and it's a very familiar character later on in the series, the character of Jonathan, played by Danny Strong, who's a phenomenal actor in his part. She confronts him up in this tower on campus, and she goes, "I can't," says something like, "I can't let you kill these people," or "I'm not going to let you hurt these people." And he looks at her and goes, I still remember it. She goes, "I didn't come up here to hurt them. I came up here to kill myself." And he's got this high-powered rifle, and there it is. Like, there's the crack right there. Like, I mean, it's, oh my God, it is. I do remember the public service announcement talking about the suicide hotline and all that. I mean, that definitely one stuck with me, just for the topic and everything. And I mean, I certainly think it probably made an impact at the time, for two reasons. You know, the school shooting thing and the suicide thing. But yeah, I'll end it there for this entry. But if you're a Buffy fan, you'll obviously know these episodes. If you're someone who started watching the series and then fell off, you know, definitely check out the ones I talked about that, you know, that are in the later seasons. If you have never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I strongly recommend to watch it, especially if you're a fan of vampires, vampire fiction, whatever. You know, I mean, if you're a fan of the Vampire Diaries, I mean, okay. I mean, this is definitely a different age. I mean, this series, I mean, it's been around a while now. It's actually getting pretty old. But if you're a fan of the Vampire Diaries and you're someone young that's like caught this review or something, and I mean, obviously, probably if you're watching the Vampire Diaries, you know of Buffy, but it's a series that really actually ages quite well. The more I watch of it, the more I look at it and I go, you know what? It still looks pretty good. So if you're a fan of vampires, watch this show. If you're a fan of good character development, watch this show too. If you're a fan of good supernatural series, watch this show as well. I mean, this series made the careers of so many people. Oh God, so many people made this. I mean, watch it for at the very least. Watch it for you know, your archetypes that are used now in TV shows and stuff. But I will close there. You guys take care, and I hope you enjoyed this.